Alright, now the mic's working. Okay, just one second, folks. Alright, made it. Somehow. Okay, I'm gonna check something real quick on my end. Which will require me to change a setting on something. That's bear with me if there's anybody here watching. There it is. Off the monitor on that, so you folks can still hear the music. And then I'm on the levels of the music was weird last go, where it didn't sound like you folks could hear it at all. Alright, sounds like it can go down just a smidge. I think I'll use the mic first. Okay. Mic's boosted. It's going down just a couple hairs. And we'll go with this for a little while. I want to hear the music. No, about you folks. I'm not that interesting. Hope you're doing well. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics. We're doing another Coffee, Cody, and Comics. Thin coffee today. Last batch I brewed was too thin. It is what it is. So we got a few things to chat about today. Couple cool things to show off. Or share with you, however you want to present it. We'll go from there. Just really, as usual, just wanted to touch base while I felt up to it. So here we are. Let's see. What do I want to start on? It takes folks up to an hour to pile on it. So I don't know if I want to do the page reveals first. We're gonna skip this one. In fact, let's calm. What else you got? Nothing. Nothing's an option. There it goes. Something. Alright, I'll take it. Okay. Yeah, I titled Nightmares, New Pages, and Study. We can start with the stuff that folks are least interested in. Then we'll move into the stuff that I just want to vent. And then we'll move on to the cool stuff. And I don't know how long the stream will be. So, last month and a half, maybe 2 months at this point. Every time I'm on here, I'm talking about kind of what I've been doing, primarily involving, I'll call it study, but it's reading and enjoying as well. Last week, I think it was the first stream of last week. I was able to do 2 last week. I had finished Berserk, so we spoke about Berserk for a while. Of course, I'm still reading this, was the other thing I was talking about. So, I've almost caught up to what I know of the story through the anime. They're heading to Fishman Island at the moment. Oh god, this song. Skip. Wait, give it a second. Skip track. Cool, thank you. Robo Band Leader is here. But more importantly, on me almost catching up to finally new material, which would be great. More important than that is I read Impel Down and I read Paramount War, which in the anime struck me like crazy. I loved it. Impel Down was a little slow in the anime. To be honest, it felt like it took a little while, but the concept was really cool. Um, in the manga, it was perfectly paced, and the characters were great as always. Character designs were kind of interesting. They're all basically Nazis, all the prison guards, right? With our big, uh, I don't even remember what the fruit was called, but Warden Magellan, he, the poison fruit or something like that. His power's great. His shtick about just always having diarrhea because he just eats poison, and he doesn't have to eat poison, but he thinks he has to eat poison. It's I mean, just small little bits like that are just great. Bon Clay again showing up since the what was that arc called? I want to call it Crocodile arc, but that's not what it's called. It's the name of the country Crocodile's taking over. That's the name of the arc. I don't remember it though. Bon Clay's been a really interesting character since the beginning. But with Impel Down, it really sets a whole new standard for him. Huge heroic send-off, even self-sacrifice kind of send-off for the character. You never expect that character to be, from the design and the shtick, you never expect him to be worth much, but in Impel Down, trying to get to Inazuma is the scissor hands. What's the King of Queens? Forgot her name right now, or their name, I guess would be the most accurate. His search for her to heal Luffy after he gets coated in Magellan's poison, just incredible. It's fun stuff. Again, just self-sacrifice again and again. Like, he is completely inspired. Every time Luffy takes Mr. 3 and Buggy the Clown seriously throughout Impel Down is just great because it breaks their heart every time they're trying to swindle him, and he's just totally fine and cool with it. Like, those little bits of humor that Oda interweaves into everything he does. Just wonderful. Been a consistent source of pick-me-up these days for me. But Impel Down was great, and then Paramount War, building on Ace and his character, building Whitebeard, even though you don't see Whitebeard too much except for before that, except for when Shanks shows up to parlay for a little bit. Again, Whitebeard wasn't there very long, but you get such a strong sense of character. And then, of course, he dies standing, which is a whole neat thing that Oda even comments part of the section. It's like, oh, there's a legend of this. I really like that. So I made it for Whitebeard there. It's just a send-off to a new age. What he's able to weave in is just incredible. Jimbei taking Akainu's magma fist through the gut, and then Luffy getting his scar from it to protect Luffy, right? After Ace already did that, died protecting Luffy. A whole bunch of craziness, man. That's really when I think the Impel Down, but primarily Paramount War, for me, is where One Piece really hits like its pinnacle stride. I loved Water 7. It's one of my favorite like expressions of found family put to page. But something about Paramount War and Paramount War doesn't have the impact without Impel Down. Because this constant sense of drive and struggle throughout Impel Down, this ticking clock, adds so much gravitas to when the actual war begins, right? Tore through those, man, so good. So that was incredible. I was really excited to get into them, and then when I did, they were better than I expected. And I was expecting a lot. And so now the crew's back together. There's the 2-year time skip, right? Where everybody kind of trains, their designs change, all that. The flashback arc with Luffy and let's skip this track. It's a little distracting. That's funky. Where is it so I can turn you down just a little bit? Oh, it was down. I don't know. I don't know. I'll turn it down for me over here. Then it shouldn't affect you folks. Alright. Will affect you if it derails my train of thought, though. Oh, the flashback arc with Luffy, Ace, and is it Sabo? Um, really neat. I remember that was also another kind of slow part for me in the anime, but in the manga, wonderful. It doesn't stay as long. It doesn't waste as much time in this. It gets across the points and then gets you back to the main adventure, which was my problem with it in the anime. So that just felt like I'm waiting to get back to modern Luffy. I want to know what's going to happen. Good characterization, right? It makes you really feel more for Ace. It makes you feel more for Luffy. But same time, like it's the anime adds a little bit more to it. It takes a little longer. But that was great. And now they're back. Right now they're still heading to Fishman Island. They're floating under the water. They just met the Kraken, and if he wants to capture the Kraken to have it pull his ship. And then that weird goo devil fruit user just ended up on their ship after the cow that was pulling his is scared because it had met the Straw Hats before and got its ass kicked because he used to work for Arlong way back when. There's again, it's Comics by Perch said it really well, and he did a whole video on it I recommend watching. But One Piece, pound for pound, is probably the most value and quality of storytelling on this length done in comics. You can talk about Spider-Man, Batman, all of these, where it's really fragmented stories that some bleed into each other, some don't. But from a single storyteller with a vision that started, about when he was 17. By the time we're hitting this, it's been 15 years of him working on this. Week in, week out. He took one month break during this, and he apologizes for it. Fucking A. It's heart and soul poured on the page, and it doesn't feel like it. Like with Berserk, you can kind of feel like it's slowly killing the man. With One Piece, it doesn't feel that way, thank goodness. I think part of it is because he focuses so strongly on being resonant between, kids, not young kids, even though you probably could be alright. Most of the stuff would go over their heads that would be inappropriate. But to adults, and he's working to put as much into just telling what could generally be called an amazing story the entire time. And man, it's been a pleasure to read it. It's a wonderful investment. I very much recommend reading or watching if you can. They got 13 seasons up on Netflix. If you still got that, just watch the anime if that's all you can manage. Don't let the character designs put you off, because it's like some alcohol and some food. It grows on you, and it grows on you quicker than you'd think. Very impressed by that. That was one of the things when I was younger that turned me off in One Piece. It's like, it just looks so dumb. But then I understood why he does his character designs as he does them. The noodle look. And he's only been able to reinforce the characterizations with the designs again and again and again. The growth with the designs, right? During the time skip, he was able to do that again. Refresh them, but then reinforce their personalities and their newfound abilities. And their newfound experience. Incredible. I mean, it's for as goofy as all of his SBS sections, which is kind of the letters to the editor sections are, as playful as they are, extremely serious to him in terms of how much heart and the ideas he wishes to tackle and the work is. It is incredibly inspirational. But enough gushing about the quest to be the Pirate King there. Let's talk about a problem I had, just to warn you folks, because I think this is going to be very common. So if you order, in my case it was One Piece, but I think they do other manga. So one of the things I learned during this whole time, skip track, um, collecting this is, trying to find the good deals during a manga printing shortage is a hell of a thing. And so I bit off more than I could chew with these two very sweet deals. Um, the caveat was, oh, you just have to wait a month or two to get them. And I was like, okay, that makes sense why the price is so low, especially since it also comes from Japan itself. Skip track, too much, guys, too much. But I want to warn you folks about this particular seller. Is there anything else that would give me trouble here? No. So I can just show you this. Cool. Oh, no, you can stay on. Looks like we're gonna have to do it that way. That's fine. Boom. Oh, I have a button for this. I'm not using this thing when I need to. That's the page that allows me to turn on. Is it this? Oh, yeah, that's why I don't show it. That? No, that's to mute it. Oh, no, I just switched channels. I still have to go. Yeah. It's fine. We got it. So, these guys on Amazon, their prices are incredible because they will not deliver you your item. And they will pocket the shipping money when you go to the refund. Do not order from Iwama Japan on Amazon. Just a heads up. And they make you wait a month and a half in some cases before you can even do anything about the orders. I'm pretty sure these guys are scamming at the moment. Now, they may not have started off at scamming, right? And just this manga shortage, this printing shortage, which is across almost every title, unless it's brand new and super hot, like Demon Slayer or Chainsaw Man. They might have been able to keep up until 2020. So I'm not going to say they went into this with negative intent, but right now they have all their listings up, and I have not seen a single one that has gone through well. So I very much recommend do not order from these folks. They will usually be if you're looking at, let's go look at this. Watch. One second, just so I don't dox anything. Let me show you what I mean and why I took the bait like a moron. Yeah, I'll show you. Right here. Right here's why I took the bait. Those are the actual only ones available. $84 a piece. Oh, but you look at this, $20 new. What? Collectible isn't collectible. It just means they're out of print right now. It's not like it's signed. It's nothing special. This is the price you'll find on eBay. This is the price you'll find on Mercari. But you go, you see that? I'm like, okay, well, I can wait a month to see if that works. I waited a month. I waited a month and a half because they printed the shipping label. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe they'll ship. They pocketed the shipping fees. Really bothers me. So they made $5 off of me that I can't get back. $10 if you count the other one I ordered, which is about the same price. So I just went ahead and bought the volume separately through Amazon, through sellers that'll ship it within a week. But yeah, these folks are all over, particularly One Piece, if you're buying off of Amazon. So please be careful. Don't buy from these folks. I don't think they have the stock. As far as I can tell, they do not. And then they pocket the money. They pocket the shipping at least. They did refund me the $19.99 and then the $1.50 taxes, but the shipping, no. So we'll see. I'm bitching about that right now. We'll see if they respond to it and are like, oh, sorry, or if I gotta go through Amazon and report these folks in a more direct manner. But basically, they pocket your money for a month, the whole thing, right? They take it. And then they don't ship the book, and then they probably hope you forget at the moment by giving deals that are unrealistic, which I should have figured out. That's my bad. I fell for it, but I'd rather other people don't. I am getting at least the bare minimum back. I am still losing to, I'm still going back with a black eye from ordering from these folks, but do not. Again, if you're looking at the omnibus editions, they've been out of print. Even up to like these later issues, they've been out of print for a while, and they are going for about $85 to $100 a piece. Buy the separate volumes if you have to. They were printed in larger quantities, but they're still going to be about $20 to $40 a piece for the individual volumes. It's a bad time to be buying One Piece, or Yasha's another one where one of the rare Viz Big ones is going for $600. If you're looking for older manga, now's either a good time because they'll keep appreciating, or there's going to be a big wave of reprints. There was a wave of reprints I caught. It was, I don't know, last month they had a wave of the box sets, at least the number one box sets, which is like volume 1 through 21 for like $180, so you're saving about $40. So you're getting about 4 volumes for free when you buy the box sets, like normally. It was there for about a week. You could buy it at normal price, and then they shot up again, and they're $300 to $400 again. So it's the demand for manga right now is so massive that even the level of reprints that they are able to put out every couple months is a drop in the water. So either don't collect now and wait, or collect now and enjoy like I am, and hope that everything keeps appreciating. Like, I lucked out. I recommend checking eBay. I recommend checking Mercari. I've gotten amazing deals through there. Go 13 Volume 1 I got for $20 when it's like $180 manga print, because they don't print Go anymore. So just do your hunting if you're looking for old manga. Do your hunting, or else you will get screwed one way or another, either by paying too much or by paying too little and never receiving the product. I guess that's the main thing I have to say. I ordered this, and then 64, 65, and 66, which is right after this one, which bothers me. So I've gotta wait till those volumes come in to continue my read on One Piece, which bothers me, but it is what it is. I've got other awesome stuff to read, so I'm lucky. But just a warning, just a heads up: don't buy from these folks whose listings are still up right now. The 78% will probably go much lower. There's a chance there's a few things that'll be all right, but I would not deal with them. They'll make you wait, and then they'll hope that you forget. Yeah, so that's that fun bit. Since we were on it, we were talking about One Piece. So yeah, just a heads up, just a warning. Iwama Japan on Amazon. No go, especially. It's the normal thing I should listen to. If a deal's too good to be true, it's probably not. But it's like, give it a try, and at worst, I'll get my money back, right? Lose a couple bucks. It is what it is. But yeah, so I'm buying the separate volumes of those, and I'm saving a little bit. I'm not saving as much as Iwama was about if I was buying them both for that $20 a piece. It's $40 instead of 60. But and I'm getting 60 for 5 volumes, so I'm still making the normal price of about $10 per manga volume, which again, if you compare to mainstream comics, it's still pretty goddamn good if you're doing separate single volumes, and they're not super rare. You try and collect Trigun Maximum, that ain't gonna happen, folks. Not only are the omnibus editions like ridiculously expensive, starting at the second omnibus, but even the single volumes starting at the 7th, I believe, are hundreds of dollars. It is insane, and they wonder why people pirate. Most of these things are available digitally, very cheap. So keep that in mind. I think even the Shonen Jump will give you if not all of One Piece, a damn good chunk of it. So if you can read digitally and you want to read digitally, great. If you're fine with the subscription service, that's great. Um, there are certain stories I want to have physically. I want to carry. I want to hold. I want to read. I want to breathe in. One Piece is one of them. Berserk was one of them. There's one I wish I could, but it was never translated or released in English, which is Hajime no Ippo. That one I can only get a hold of fan translations via less than legitimate means. It reads great. It's a wonderful, so fun series. And I think it would do well over here, but it's just never come out. Though the anime has, so you can watch chunks of the anime, which is what 12% of the manga or something. It's not much, but I do recommend the anime as well for that. Hajime no Ippo and boxing, super inspiring. That if you want like just a manga that is consistently inspiring, uplifting, Hajime no Ippo. But yeah, so just as always, take the classic common sense lessons. Don't do what I did. Iwama Japan on Amazon, as far as I'm aware, they don't have any of these things, and if they did, they ain't selling them to you that cheap. It's just how it goes. So keep an eye on the auction sites, as usual, is the best way to get a hold of most of this stuff. We've got to have patience with them sometimes. There's 2 volumes in the Inuyasha Vizbig run that are about $350 for volume 14, and again like $600 the last 2 I've seen go up on eBay for volume 16. I was able to score a 14 for $60 shipped from Canada, so that was neat, but there's no way I'm ever going to be able to score a 16 unless they do a reprint, and I think it's so old and the demand's not there that there will not be a reprint. So if you see like a volume 16, I saw somebody snagged a volume 16, like volumes 8 through 16 or something at a Comic-Con. And I doubt he paid $600 for that volume 16. So there's always chances like that. So if you do see the Vizbig of Inuyasha volume 16, you can make a good buck on it even if you don't want it. Especially if you don't want it, in fact. So keep an eye out. It's been interesting for me to dive into the manga end of the speculator market, because I know nothing about the comics end of it, where it's kind of more of a big performance. This one, it's just raw, like people want to read these things and they're not available. Whereas the collector's market's like, oh, they're only printed this certain amount, and we're gonna fucking seal them in plastic, and no one will ever read them. Right? It's a very different mindset. So it's interesting. All right, and then we'll move on to nightmares, because I had a fun trio of them last night, which is weird. I usually don't remember my dreams. I usually, when I do, they're stress dreams, which is how it goes. But these weren't just stress dreams. These were like awful. And it was one, and then I'd wake up, I'd try and shake it off, I'd fall asleep, and then just move right into another. And then, yeah, of course, that happened, 3 times until I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna be up. And most of them, like the only point I can find in them were appreciate where I am now, because the possibilities of where else I could be are quite horrific. And so that was part of it, because all of them they had logic to them. The first one I remember was, this is a weird thing for me, but it is what it is. I wanted to excise this weird negativity that was just being shoved into me last night. The first one was my mother, but it wasn't my mother. It didn't look like her, but dream logic, right? So you'll go with things that don't work because the hierarchical of ideas do. So you'll go with visual cues that don't work, or actions and personalities that don't fit. But you'll have these labels and ideas, these constructs above them that then reinforce the reality of the situation. And then you go with that. So again, as my parents were back in my life currently, And it was just this weird like deconstruction of everything I've changed into and have become over time, and the expressions of it were real not so fun. Um, that was the first one, and that was fine. I've had that kind of thing before. It's just one and done, and then I go back to sleep, and then I don't remember the next dreams, and I have a good night's sleep. Didn't happen. So then I fell back asleep again, and there was a weird one where it's not that weird. And he's kind of in line with a lot of what I get to, but a lot of different segments to it. But the main thorough line was I was at this hospital to visit somebody else, to meet my dad at this hospital because he was visiting a friend's family who somebody was there. And so I'm dealing with a bunch of hospital rigmarole, which fine. That helped ground it, right? But then when I'm finally through this, and it felt like hours I'm working through this rigmarole, this guy puts me in the side. He's like, "Oh, well, you can't find him because he's dead." Blah 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 blah. It was this thing, and so it was fun to re-experience that feeling of death again. That was great. It hit similarly. That was really fun to be reminded of that. And then having to deal with it in a big public situation like that with a understaffed, overcrowded hospital. Very weird. And it was just me looking like I then had to. I just wanted to get his things and get out of there if I could, and they wouldn't let me leave. But they also wouldn't let me back into this room that I allegedly had to stay in to collect my own things to leave. There's a lot of angles to that one in which, apply to my overall perception of our current situation with the healthcare system right now. But overall, that was the gut drop that feels when you've lost somebody had returned. That was no fun. And then the third one was I was living here with my dad. I think it was closer to this time though, so I had still been. And then neighbors drove their car through our house. Two of them. One of them had a trailer and drove trucks through our house. And there was this destruction of everything I own and have known. Loss of my animals. All this fun gut wrenching stuff. And then they come to confront us. It was a huge group of people. It was almost like it was a what's the term? Buffalo's one of them. What's the commune? It's almost like it was a commune. A bunch of folks come on over here to confront us with their kids and their wives and all this weirdness, and to blame us for doing it. I'm just trying to get them off the property and tell them that, we can discuss this, but we'll discuss it when the cops are here. Get the fuck off of my property. And it's just this weird confrontational bullshit. And eventually I woke myself up from it. Yeah, just weird shit, man. Weird shit. I'm not, most of my dreams are stress dreams. I'm used to that. But they don't usually take it to those levels and then force me to re-experience loss or shift the perception of my loss to anger. The first one was that, because everything was being ripped away, and this person who wasn't the person I thought, but the overarching idea that was being structured within the storyline of the dream was that person. So I was fighting somebody I loved, but it wasn't that. Again, dream logic. The second one, hearing that again when I didn't expect it, very similar to the actual experience. It felt, that was no fun. And then this last one so I understand parts of these again was to reinforce, appreciate where you are. But it was also maybe to blatantly show me where these maybe some fears are that need to be confronted. But just awful night's sleep. I slept longer than I usually do, but it was not restful. It's very odd. very odd stuff for me, but it is what it is. But that was the nightmares part of this. I just want to excise and share whether or not they're of any value or thought piece to something like this stream. I have no idea, but there they are. And then last but not least, we have some cool stuff. We're about 40 minutes in, so I don't mind sharing that. Maybe we'll stop at an hour. So we have 3 pages of new IronVerse Comics to show, which was really neat. So I did wake up to some cool stuff. Well, 2 of them I had already had and shared with you folks, but one of them I haven't. We got page 9 of Jack in. I haven't shared that. But I do have these to share. So, we got pages 3 and 4 of The Recluse, colored and in by the wonderful B. Navarro. So those are in. These looking good. I can't zoom in on that one, sadly. It's not as high def as this one. But I'm liking the tone that this preview is taking. Of course, this is available with issue number 4, Jack Iron Steel Cowboy. One of only 2 places you can find it. You can also find it on our Patreon. As it's produced, Patreon always gets our production stuff as it comes in. But yeah, straight in, looks great, super excited. We got one more page coming in, colored and lettered, and this will be done. I'll be waiting for folks to go with issue number 4 of Jack. So I'm super excited. That's almost done. His team works very quickly compared to mine at the moment. And it's really cool to have in. And then last but not least, we got this page in today from Maxi Dallo, which is page 9 of Jack Iron. So let me bring that. Oh, did I close that one? I guess. Did I close both of them? I guess I closed both of them. Let me reopen it. Because I always know what I'm doing. Okay. Come on now. Oh, computer's not working right. That's fun. That's not computers. Windows. To be fair, hardware's doing just fine. Jack. No, find it. Irons, issue 4, Maxi Lines, page 9. Excellent. Boom, page 9. Now, not going to explain the circumstances under it. You guys are going to have to wait for the issue. Basically a traveling page and a scene setting page. But yeah, page 9 is in. 2 more pages and we'll be a third done with the line art. So it's taken a lot longer than I wanted it to, but it is what it is. Here's the issues so far, if you folks are curious. Yeah, I'm in the way of some of the panels. I'm gonna have to deal with it. I'm trying not to spoil it too much. But yeah, page 9 is in. Looks great. I'm super stoked. It was one of those times where like his line art could sometimes get kind of loose feeling, but taking in context, I'm actually really, really stoked with it. Like, you'll get images like this, gritty but clean and crisp, and then you'll get this kind of loose, implicational kind of, what's the word? It implies stuff, so implicational works, but like, there's an art term when it's just like implies something, but isn't actually that. And it's not an abstraction, but it's closer. Like it's loose. Best way I can put it. Besides, again, it implies things, right? And we definitely have that this page, where what I think he's trying to do when he does that, in particular, besides saving time, right, is to draw your eye to the hyper detail stuff. Right, so like you're more likely to look at this clean, crisp hand pointing and then see Jack than you are to just look at Jack, right? And that's the same here, where you're going to look at the wall and you're going to really see the detail in the clouds of smoke, and then you'll see the horses. And then here you'll look at the pipe which he's following, the pipe and wiring, and then you'll see Jack, and then you'll see him come across this, but you'll see the morphed in heads before you see well, about the same time you see Jack. You know, I think I'm explaining. But yeah. Oh, there you go. That's that. That's kind of everything, folks. 45 minutes. Keep it a short stream, maybe. Um, Allegedly, we had some folks watching, which I appreciate, at least according to Restream. Always appreciate you folks saying howdy, but I understand not everybody can. You folks tend to be busy. But yeah, we talked about everything I wanted to. Primarily been studying One Piece again. I'm just inspired, but overwhelmed by its artistry and the talent involved in the storytelling. Period. Like from the line art to the character designs to the beats chosen. It's masterful. So I'm trying to figure out as much as I can, see if I can apply anything to what the next step is, and I've been building the next step in my head pretty consistently, and yeah, I'm excited for it if we get to it. I think we will. But yeah, showed off the new pages. 3 new pages showed off today, which is great. Hopefully we'll be... So, according to there's so many angles. There's so many angles. I'm trying to learn to go with the flow a bit better. There's this overarching impetus to hurry that I know, and I've seen it again and again, a lot of people are feeling. It's mainly because this sense of hopelessness and dread that is being shoved down our throats at a societal level. The overarching level of tyranny globally is a hell of a thing to observe, and with the implication of the removal of freedoms, whether they're what would be traditionally considered left-wing freedoms or right-wing freedoms, it is a removal of them. It's a pincer maneuver on that, and so that causes a kind of impetus. The economic situation causes a impetus to hurry, but there's just that's not how our magic over here works. I wish it did in some cases, simply because I look at something like One Piece and I have 15 years to get 519-page chapters done. That's not it's not feasible with our work, and yet this story at this point when I'm reading, it's barely halfway concluded, maybe even less, and so I'm trying to figure out how to scale what is possible with our work, since this current scalability, the current rhythm we have, may not be feasible in the future. And yet I still have more to tell and more to share, and a wonderful, wonderful community to help keep alive. So it's tough, but it's doable. But I'm trying to breathe and not be overly frustrated with things, because I think that'll just breed more of these nightmares, right? When I'm overly frustrated and feel, in all 3 cases, well, no, the first one, the most pain in the ass thing that occurred in that first nightmare, I very much took control of. It was aggressive, but I took control of. The second one, I was completely powerless, and then the third one, like my only step forward, I had to continuously talk myself down from doing because it was extreme violent action. It's just, it's weird times. It's hard times for most everybody. And I just want to keep doing this work as long as I can, as best I can. Try my best to understand the work, what needs to happen, whether it's timing-wise or it's many other factors, right? And we'll see what can be done. But I'm happy. It's been a little bit since we had something new to report on Jack. So a new page. excited for that. It's the start of the second arc in issue number 4. And we'll see. We'll see. I'd like to... there's so many different angles to construct this beast, right? The primary ways would require, finances, and that's tougher than usual. Been having really hard work weeks, like physically. My body is just not keeping up with the job anymore. Yesterday was better, but Friday was a nightmare. Saturday was not great. And then I think last week I had the same. So I've got to figure out that as well. Not that it can't be figured out, right? That's the thing. That is so much. It's just so much. And I'm not surprised that it kind of built up in that headway for me. But, one day at a time. One day at a time, folks. I appreciate anybody who watches this rambling. You're doing all right. Doing the work. Progressing. There's much more I need to do sooner rather than later. On a lot of different angles. I'm trying to kick up a lot of things, and some things are kicking up, some things are not. Whether I struggle or I don't struggle, which is the issue. But we'll see. One day at a time. Today I'm hoping will be better than the night was. But we'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell. Patience, tenacity, persistence. And try and keep a sort of flame of hope. At least a guiding star, if not flame of hope, right? Forgot whose quote it was, but try to die with memories and not dreams. That's a big one I'm trying to crack, because that's another one that's just coming from this overarching aura of fear that's being generated and smothered across the world right now. So in some ways I want to just flip the middle finger and just keep going about my business, see what happens. I think that might be the best path. But we'll see. Alright. I don't really have anything else to contribute, folks. Again, I'm not sure anybody's actually checking this out, but if you are, thank you. I just want to check in with you folks at least once a week, so I'm around, so you know what's going on, so that there's content going on the channel, whether or not it's the most uplifting or the most fun-filled, right? Last couple weeks I've been trying to get to a drawing stream, and just to sit down and focus like that, though it'd probably be very good for me, it's not. It has not been something I've been able to choose to do, which sucks. But we've got sketch cards to do. I've got sketch cards to catch up to. Mrs. H is wonderful and has already done basically all the sketch cards that were requested. So far, I've got to nudge folks again. I'm going to nudge folks today alongside the update about page 9. Oh, Mrs. H, howdy. And we'll go from there. Hopefully we get more of those requests in. I've got to shoot Illustrator Monk. He's got 2 requests, I think, right now. One of them's Jackie, and then the other's Chopper. Tony Chopper, for one, which is kind of neat. I think the first sketch card I'll do is Luffy. I've just been engrossed in that world for so long at this point. I think it would be good for me to honor it a little bit. Yeah, if folks could stand that nightmare segment, I appreciate it, because try to keep a dream journal. It's one of the ways you can take... It's a very old but very consistently proven way to take control over that spectrum of your life is a dream journal. Some way placing down the experience that you had with it and putting it into a form that you manifested directly instead of one in which your subconscious, whatever spirit you believe in, may have manifested. Uh, it shows that you are trying to be conscious about it. And if you can be conscious about those things, I've experienced many times in my dreams, that you can take control of them and turn it into at least something else. If nothing else, wake your ass up, which I had problems with last night. Usually I can call bullshit, but those three, I was three in a row as the trip, kept waking up, and then my dog's next to me, and I'm just like, oh, thank God I'm not there. Thank my puppy for sleeping there and being my little guardian while I dealt with that other world. 3 times last night. It's a trip. Usually I get one and then I fall asleep, and then the next I don't remember, and I'm just off my day and just like, oh, that sucked. But yeah, that was the first time in a long time something like that happened. And, I have to take note of it. I don't exactly know what it means, but I can extrapolate a couple definitions of it and work in the waking world, which is much more pleasant than those 3 were, to maybe relieve those subconscious stress factors. And maybe get back to, if nothing else, regular sleep. But we'll see. We'll see. Mrs. H, thank you so much. Of course, no rush on she's working on a new animation for us today, or at least had started. And I really appreciate it, but no rush as always. The work's there if you want it. If not, it's okay. And we'll see. I've said that a million times. But sometimes all you got is patience. Sometimes that's all. That's the only path forward, is just to survive where you're at. And so that's, I guess that's where I'll call it. We're about at an hour, yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything like fun to bring up. But I hit on multiple points. Rambled pretty good about my learnings of the master class beside me there. Warned folks about my stupid choice in manga purchases because I saw an amazing deal and bullshit. It was a bullshit deal. That's still up for everybody. Sent me a rough. You love doing the animation. Well, I'm glad you do. I appreciate that. That overall, I really do. It was something I always wanted to add to our work. And just was waiting for the right person, I think. I had heard you were doing a trailer for them. That's wonderful. I'm sure it came out incredible. I'm hoping their next campaign for this works out much better for them, because they don't ask for too much. They produce a ton of work. Their heart's very much in the work over there at Omen and Revelation Comics. And they partner with Wicked, which I appreciate. And honestly, I need to read the work before I can comment much more on it. That's one of the things I am failing as the new Wicked Publishing social media manager, is there are quite a few of the works under their label I have not read, so I can't even put my own promotional spin on them, which that's neglectful. But also, like, I have to go buy them, which I'm needing to be very specific where my finances go, particularly if I have to leave this job I love very much because I physically can't do it anymore. I've been to I don't really need to get into it, but I've taken every action I currently can to understand what's going on with my joints on the bottom half there, and they have told me nothing. To get to a specialist is about 4 months out from now. So we'll see in about 4 months. I just don't know if the body will last that long. And then if I gotta find another gig, I'm unsure. Where did it hear the funk out of what I said? The funk. The funk. I'm in a funk. The funk. It's just not turning off. Alright. Their work is very good. The only downside is that there are a lot of number ones right now. Oh, so there's no it's a lot of setup. Gotcha. Gig. I call it a gig. It's not a gig. It's been my job for 5 years. My pup job over at the pet resort in town. So many wonderful animal friends over there. One of the things I was able to say, still am, is I make a new friend every day at my job. It means a lot to me. I make what could be simply animal storage something a little bit better for these beautiful life forms, and it's super fulfilling. It's the most fulfilling job I've ever had. And yeah, with inflation, a couple things, other things to do with the new owner and stuff, like I'm not being taken care of as well as I used to, financially, or even like just basic maintenance of the place, right? But I love my coworkers. I adore my manager. The critters I work with are incredible. Again, there's very few things as rewarding as making an animal that comes in scared and doesn't understand what's going on, making them even just the slightest bit more comfortable. Like it's felt like one of the reasons I even kick around this place at all, and so that one's been taking a toll on my mentality for a long time. It's that the physicality of my being here is not keeping up with the desire of the heart there, and that's a hard thing to reckon. Like that's one of the first big adult growing old things I've had to reckon with, right? And just sucks where it's taking place in my sense of security and a good chunk of my self-worth, and this big rewarding thing that actually allows me to put food on the table and take care of my own animals and take care of the house. And then what do I do next, right? Bleh. But you know what? Things could work out. I've been working to change diet. I'm exercising more. Then I'm an unhealthy individual. It's just I was put through, 30 miles of walks for a long time, a weekend, right? About 10 miles a day. And that coupled with me bending down all the time to relate with these critters and to make sure that they're not intimidated by size, and to give them affection and all of that, hundreds of times a day sometimes. I guess it just eventually took its toll on the joints. It's getting old. But we'll see. I've tried and continue to try. And some days are much better than others. Last couple of weeks haven't been that good, but we'll see. The Ghost of the Machine, yeah, right? No, I'm with you there, Mrs. H. I'm with you there. The Robo band leader there is incredible. Let's I don't know if I'll show this, but let's take a look. Did you just add it to the playlist? Yeah, okay, play it. Oh, that came out great. Even if that's done as it is, that's wonderful. Let me, if you don't mind, I'd love to show that. Just gotta find a way to open again here. There's that. Up, right here. Pause. Is it on loop? Playback. don't think it'll loop. That's alright. It may loop, it may not. Funk was on over here too. Alright. There you go. But yeah. That's in the way, but not terrible. New kind of issue 2 promo from Mrs. H. Love it. Bronco moving around. That guy misses in the comic. Falls on his ass. How good it is looping. Incredible. But yeah, just so many things. I'm trying in many different angles to find myself in a new place mentally, because this has been a while. And somehow I funded a comic during it. Somehow I've continued to build a space, or at least help build a space that is much more conducive to support and creativity than many others I've experienced in my artistic journey, right? I have been able to maintain this house and my critters and the work when, you know, I don't even think my dad believes I could. There's a lot I've succeeded in during some extreme hardships, and I'm very proud of myself for being able to do so. But they have not stopped coming, which, you know, could just be building me stronger for whatever, you know, will come next. But gotta take the victories and recognize them and celebrate them. And I do take days to I got my first consistent gig in comics too, doing something I think I'm all right at. There's a lot of good stuff. It's just I guess change is consistently painful. Well, that's not the greatest way to say it. Growing pains are pain, right? It's that stretching out and moving into new territory that can be painful. But I've been lucky and strong enough to survive it. So I think, if nothing else, that was one of the things that he did teach me. Was, you know, you gotta have faith in your own personal strength and journey. You're here for whatever reason you're here for. To enjoy it the best you can. And one thing I did find out, at least from that doctor visit, fucking A, he couldn't tell me shit about what I needed. Gave me a pain med that's allowed me to work, which has been great. But was that the rest of me's good, like the heart's good, the lungs, the blood, all that fun stuff. Like I'm healthier than I'd appear, which is great. But man, I'd fucking love to figure out what's going on with the nervous system, or what it is on this lower half. So 4 months from now, maybe I will. Oh, hey, Genuine Comics. Weird streams show up in, but I do appreciate you stopping in and saying hi. Welcome. Just on loop, this wonderful animation from Mrs. H that came in today. We showed new page of Jack as well that came in today. And then we showed the 2 pages of the Recluse that were colored by B today as well. So there was some comic news today for once. But I spent like the first, half hour of the stream talking about what I've been doing, which is consistently studying and what I'm learning, what I'm trying to figure out, the setup for what I want to do next, which is not so much a direct like left turn or whatever, or abandonment of what came before, but more of a metamorphosis, more of a finishing one step and starting another off of the same journey. I'm really excited for that, but this could be years off. but nonetheless. So yeah, new Jack page. We're 9 pages in, which is there's things like professionally that you just keep your mouth shut about, because it's unprofessional to talk about. But there are things there about the speed in which this occurs that happens every time. So I shouldn't have really expected otherwise. But you know, we shall see. On paper, we should be done with the line art by September. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. But on paper, we should be done with the line art by September. Once we're about halfway through the line art, I'm going to nudge the crap out of our colorist to see if he can get that going. I'm giving him a lot of space because he is working on monthlies. So he always has that work to do on a strict deadline. And trying to find a new balance. We'll see. We'll see. Thanks so much, Mrs. H, for stopping by. Thanks so much for showing the rough there of the animation. I currently don't have any notes, so if that's final, it looks good, but I also haven't stared at it for a long time, which I do for a lot of your animations. So we'll see. But thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What are we at? An hour 10? I don't know if I have much else to chat about. We hit all the notes, even some less than stellar ones. So I think... what time is it here? I have about an hour before I need to hit the next step of my day. I do have an update to shoot out to backers as well. Let me see what this looks like. If this is done, that would be incredible. They might wait for tomorrow, which... maybe not. There's a chance this could hit today. Give it an hour. I would love it if it did. That would help make my day a little better. Oh, what about this? No, don't need that. Is it denied at least? No, still haven't been accepted. Okay, anything new here? 1 second. Is the music even? It is, but it isn't. Weird. Did I mute it? No, it's just really quiet. Oh, $1! Well, howdy. Howdy, howdy. You missed all of it. I should go back to nudging you. I keep forgetting to do that. Because I don't know if you're around or not. But, yeah. I guess we'll repeat. I'm trying to buy... I'd like to buy at least another 20 minutes on this stream. Get an hour and a half. New Jack page in, $1. Looking good. Excited. The second arc of this issue is about to hit. Oh man, I spoke for, I don't know, a half hour at the beginning of the stream about the studying I've been doing, which I've been talking about every stream for the last 6 or something like that. Talked about Berserk quite a bit, but One Piece. They're diving Fishman Island right now, One Piece, but I talked about Impel Down and Paramount War particularly quite a bit. It's so good. And then I talked about a place I bought some omnibuses from on Amazon that were super cheap that were never going to show up. They were just swindlers. So talked about that. Don't buy from Iwama Japan on Amazon if you can. The price is too good to be true because it is not true. And then talked about the nightmares part was first night in a long time where it was nightmare, wake up, nightmare, wake up, nightmare. And so I talked about all 3 of those. I'm not going to dive back into them, but if you're curious, because I know you like dream interpretations, I did talk about that, I don't know, midway through this stream. So search for it, and I talk about them. I do have slight interpretations of them. But, yeah, it's a trip. Usually that does not happen for me. That was a very odd circumstance, so I spoke about them. I think it's because a lot of emotional stress stuff is coming to a head in my subconscious. I know you're taking action, but you gotta either appreciate where you are right now and use that to make the situation better for yourself, or at the very least, like, you're not there, right? You're not at these other circumstances. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. See, now Dollar Coins can make comments like that. I feel like I can't. I feel like I can't. But yeah, Dollar Coin says Dollar was actually working. No way. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's about it. I've just been tearing through One Piece now. I gotta, as soon as I finish this omnibus, so I think I just hit volume 62. So once I read 62 and 63, I gotta wait about a week because of what I was talking about, those Amazon orders. I was waiting on about 5 volumes. So I just went and ordered them separately, the separate single volumes. Significantly cheaper than looking for the omnibuses at their legitimate prices, which are now like, God, $90 a piece. It's just insane. Just cannot keep up with the demand. There was a print wave, at least of the single volumes, the box sets, last month, I want to say, and that price lasted maybe 5 days before it shot back up to what it was. Crazy hunger for manga. Comics wish they could get that much of a rabid fan base. Yeah, that's kind of it though. I did show the other thing, which I don't think you saw, Dollar. Let me make sure I'm not gonna, because there are like order forms up. Don't really want to dox myself more. Oh, I showed an animation from the wonderful Mrs. H. She brought that in as well. But here are these also that I don't think you've seen yet. We got more colored pages in of The Recluse as well, Dollar. So there's one more page to have colored, and then the Recluse preview is done. This colorist, too, if you like her, I would be more than willing to put you in contact with her, because she seems like consistent in her workload, in terms of like, she does the work. So I'd be very much willing to put you in contact with her if that seems like a better path forward for you than the current one. But he says, I should watch the Marineford arc, Saving a Brother and Saving the Son AMV. It's super renowned, using it for inspiration for the Anu arc right now. I can understand the concepts that'll hit, because again, yeah, I just read the Marineford. The Paramount War arc, as it's called. So that's got to be interesting, because I watched the anime too. Oh, man, I loved that. Definitely a payoff, because the anime's Impel Down felt like it took forever. The manga's Impel Down, it was fine. It did not take forever. But the Paramount War on the anime was incredible, and it was just as good, if not better, in the manga. So I'm sure a fan edit AMV could be really good. Should check that out. Top quality, good to hear. Steve, get to work. Again, you can say those things. I don't feel like I can. No, on my end, right, like, I'm waiting because of his monthlies a little bit until we have, like, enough pages that I can just, like, boom, here's half the book, right? Just get to it. And then that way I think it'll actually happen. But I know you've been waiting on pages for fucking ever, and that bothers the hell out of me. Recaps draw it out so it doesn't catch up to the manga. I know! That was my problem with the other one that was really slow like that, was the flashback afterwards, after Luffy's flashback to Ace and Sabo, I want to say is his name. That took forever in the anime. But the manga was just a wonderful little additional characterization, and so you understood more of the weight of sorrow that Luffy's feeling, right? Very well done in the manga. In the anime, it took forever. The other thing that in the manga, Oda did a bunch of one-page spreads dealing with like what the other crew members were dealing with while Luffy was training during the 2 years, right? The time skip. Oda just did like one-page spreads. The arc in the anime, man, you get full arcs. You know, Robin on the bridge, you get a huge chunk of time spent on the bridge. You get a chunk of time with Tony Chopper on the island, the human bird island. You get a huge amount of time with Zoro or Zolo and the Swordmaster, right, and the Ghost Lady. You get a good chunk of time there. It was interesting tricks that they pulled, and that, like, I get it. That was actually kind of a cool idea. It made everything take longer, which makes sense, but it was at least a really cool way to do it. It wasn't just taking an existing arc and stretching it out. It was just adding more depth to these micro arcs that Oda didn't really want to deal much with in the actual storyline. So I liked that in the anime, but yeah, it still took forever compared to this manga. It still took forever. just not even close to as long as it took in the anime. So I'm catching up though. I'm almost to Fishman Island. I won't be caught up till they're still in the anime. I'm still at the part where the guy who can throw things from anywhere and it will reach the target that he had marked with one of his hands or whatever, no matter what. That Fishman, I'm still waiting for them to beat him. But in the anime, so I'm almost there. We almost hit Fishman Island in the manga. Getting there. Looks like by the third one I'm hitting that, because there's the mermaid princess right there. Yes! I'm totally with you there, Dollar. He says he had to do that because he was going to go on break for a long time after that, so he needed to include closure. Yes, certainly. I'm glad he finally took a break. It was like 14 years into it at that point. If I remember the SBS, the letter to the writer or creator section that's in these. It was a very boring arc, huh? Yeah, like, it didn't drag me through it. Like, right after the Paramount War, right? Like, it would be tough to raise everything up that high again, right? So that's why I was like, oh, we'll do a flashback. So it's different characters. It's the same characters, but it's a different stage of their evolution for a while. But Wano might take that position. I've heard. I don't know. A lot of people really like what they do with Doflamingo. I don't know. Right away, like when they first introduced Doflamingo, you hate the guy, like right away. Once you know his devil fruit powers is like mind control, kind of. They don't explain it, which I like, but it's kind of mind control. Don't explain it so far as I've read. I'm sure they do. Is really neat. So I'm excited to see how just like, so if we go by like comic book standards, like Luffy would be a Green Lantern. He's all will. And so I'd like to see will versus mind control, right? That's always an interesting idea exploration. So I'm very curious how that works. And I think we see that towards Wano, but I don't know. One thing so far I've seen is I'm not a big fan of the character redesigns towards Wano, but it makes sense because Wano's supposed to be the Japan arc, right? So I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I get to catch up. Once I get 64 through 64 through 66 in, I'll have a straight run till the printed English editions finish at 99. I think next month they print 100, and I've got that pre-ordered. And that's during the Wano arc, I think, volume 100. So I'll be able to catch up. It's just going to take a bit. I tear through these, but I keep having to break because they aren't coming in when I want them to. Wano is the Japan arc. Doflamingo was before that. Okay. And Punk Hazard was before too. Okay, I don't know anything about Punk Hazard. And Doflamingo was before that. Okay. So yeah, I just don't know what I'm talking about. But I'll get there. I'm just missing, again, 64 through 66, and then 89 and 90 volumes. And then I'll have everything that's been printed in English so far. So I'm excited for that. So I'll be able to catch up. I want to catch up so bad. I won't catch up before I get volume 100. There's just no way. But I should be caught up before the end of the year. Maybe before 101. That would be cool. Oh, you got the Big Mom arc before Wano. Yeah, see, I don't know that either. There's a lot. It's funny. There's a bunch of arcs in what the books call the New World. There's like a bunch of different arcs, so it's like, God, I don't remember. It's like 18 to 20 some odd volumes in New World that I guess are classified as one arc, but they are not, right? So I don't even know what to call a lot of them that are coming out. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited though. I've been loving every goddamn page. Every page. There hasn't been a bad moment. It's incredible. So yeah, I've got a lot to catch up on though, Dollar. I do. I am caught up on Berserk finally though, except for 41, which comes out in November, I guess. So I'm not caught up to what you can read in English, but I am caught up to what's been printed in English. Casca has been awakened, but that's literally it. Like, and she saw Gus or Gus. They saw Guts, but that's it. That's as far as I've seen. So I'm excited for 41 because we actually get to see the interaction. I fucking loved the dive, the witch and her Farness, and the little witch diving into Casca's mind. Like that whole section, the visuals, the metaphors he chose, all of that was so cool. So cool. So I'm excited. I'm more excited about Berserk continuing now that I'm as caught up as I am than I was when I first heard that. Basically it's not a new team, but it's a team sans the creator, right? So I was a little worried, but I'm kind of excited. I want to see. If you play that One Piece, yes, you got me. No, you actually got me that game, Dollar Coins. You legend. Whole game set around Punk Hazard. Oh, good. I'm glad I haven't jumped into it then. I don't want to be spoiled. But once I get there, I'm excited. I watched the first One Piece movie too, and I liked it. Strong World with the Golden Lion. Took me a while to get through it, but I did enjoy it. It's fine. It's fine. It's interesting to see everybody use guns in the scene. That was a trip. Even Zoro or Zolo. I'm on in Zolo. Pretty funny. I watched like 90% of something on Rooster Teeth recently. Is probably the same YouTuber you might have watched. It was interesting. I only got to the part where they start getting really bad. That's as far as I got. Like, I think I had like maybe 30 minutes left in it. It was like an hour 15, hour 20 documentary, if I remember right. Yeah, when he passed away. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I got at least to that point. And then it started like changing, and people did not enjoy Ruby as much. And I know Ruby was an interesting thing because it had such a stronger following in Japan than expected from a Western studio, right? They went and changed it, where an animator worked close with him, wrote 15-word complaints about the whole thing. Huh? Yeah, I didn't finish that far. I feel a bit better about Berserk because it was his like best friend mangaka that's kind of taking that creative helm. But it's not going to be the same Berserk. I know it's not. It can't be. It's just impossible. But I want to give it a shot with Berserk. 15K word. Okay, that sounds a little bit more. It's like I could only stomach saying 15 words about it. It's so bad. I would have taken that too. But 15,000 words, like, oh wow, that's awful. Yeah, it was like the rise and fall of Rooster Teeth or something was what I started. That's crazy though. 50. That's the thing, right? It's always a weird thing to pick up something like that. That's one of the advantages of Western comics models, since they're always shifting creators. It don't matter as much. Like, it sucks George Perez passed, but he was usually only doing covers at this point now anyway, right? It sucks that we lost. There's quite a few like that, right? Like Neil Adams. That sucked, but at this point they weren't doing too much with him anymore. He wasn't getting that much work. A lot of our legends that have been doing it forever in Western comics, they didn't have a consistent single creative vision run, right? So it's whatever these IPs are, you're a cog in the machine when you're a creator on them. Whereas if you're working on manga or a long-term animation project with a long-term story, you lose that creator. It's a devastating blow. So yeah, I am scared for Berserk, but I'm excited enough to go in with a hopeful mind. They could completely destroy that hope. The thing that bothered me, so we get a flashback in Berserk, I don't know, volume 38, 37, to the guy who, like, Guts is captured at some point as a kid. He had been a mercenary for a little bit, but he's captured at some point, right? There's this guy behind him who, like, gives him a little bit of inspiration and then frees him and says, you can get away. You can get away. But he's just using Guts as a distraction. The design of Kid Guts' face in that is exactly the same as adult Guts. It was exceedingly jarring. Looked nothing like Miura's Kid Guts from the Golden Age arc. Looked nothing like him. It just looked like adult Guts, but shrank. That more model-esque, really pretty look that Guts gets towards these last couple volumes, that bothers me. That bothers me pretty significantly, honestly. But that scene in particular, I was like, okay, Guts is getting older, his face changed, that's fine. But when you go to a flashback and you're supposed to be showing a scene that's basically part of a legendary arc back in the day, and Guts looks nothing like he did then, that bothered the hell out of me. And I think that's because the assistants did most of the artwork at that point, right? So that's a small continuity thing that bothers the hell out of me, Berserk. Is that, like, Kid's Guts' face looks exactly the same as adult Guts' face. Sure, less scars, but, like, the design of it is the same. Same jawline, same nose. Whereas Kid Guts looked more like a kid in the Golden Age arc, and then he grew into the Black Swordsman look. It's very, very jarring. That's like the one big issue I've had in Berserk, period, was that scene where I was like, okay, the storyline's great. I love him, like, meeting his first fairy spirit, the flower in the prison of that scene. Like, it's really well written, but the fact that he looked exactly like adult Guts was just so jarring. So jarring. It's like if you died and halfway through Coyote, they toss you to the side, change story, cut out fights, ignore all creator-made storyboards and script. Oh, God. Joe Dirt Kid. I don't know. At least that was just like the hair, right? He still kind of looked like David Spade a little bit. But yeah, okay. It's just weird to me. It's like if they CGI'd Joe Dirt, David Spade's face, to a smaller body, right? Like, the proportions were better than that, but it was pretty damn close to that jarring for me. First time I saw him, I was like, oh my God, he just looks like the adult Guts. Yeah, it bothered me. Artistically, like, that's the first thing in all of Berserk that bothered me. It's just so jarring that it's like, you didn't even make an attempt to make it look like the old Kid Guts that we actually knew. To be fair, most people aren't reading Berserk as close and as binged as I had done at that point, right? Like, I read all of Berserk in 2 months. This is 35 years of work, right? It's not going to be as jarring to somebody who's followed chapter to chapter over that time. But it was still very, very jarring for me. It's like that, yeah, I get it. It's the Kid Guts. I can tell by the story and the context. But if I'm just looking at it next to Golden Age Guts, Kid Golden Age Guts, and then I'm looking at that same interpretation of Kid Golden Age Guts next to modern Guts, it's the same face with less scars. The exact same face with less scars. There's no, like, childhood look to it like Miura put in Golden Age. Kid Guts looked like a kid next to Black Swordsman Guts. Very weird. Very weird that got through. But again, the story's great. I really like it. It's super sad. And it's a good little break beat, right? That whole flashback was simply supposed to be a break in the story to begin with. Just kind of a side quest, right? Like, you don't actually need the context contained within that chapter to continue the story of Berserk. It's just this extra little bit of Guts' characterization that he found this hope and he got the flower outside to her friends, right? It's a really, really good story. It's just that the character design, like, whew, nothing like what you would expect during the time period if you had just read around that time. It's weird. It's weird, but it is what it is. Alright, we're about to 35. We did hit the hour and a half. I'm kind of waiting till after 1 o'clock, because if I'm lucky, I get to go pick up something cool that'll help my day be a little bit better. But we'll see. To be fair, I got a lot of... oh, howdy, El Crudo! Howdy, howdy. It usually takes folks about an hour to an hour and a half to get in on these streams. So I got to figure out something to do for the first hour and a half so that all the topics of these streams aren't dealt with by now, right? I'll figure it out one of these days. But that seems to be the rhythm, as most people are in about a 45 to an hour into these streams. Glad to see you. Congrats on El Crudo. As always, I'm super excited. I'm glad the Indiegogo funded. I'm really aggravated that it doesn't get more traction, but I'm sure you understand that. But I'm so glad you're able to continue to put these out, and I will continue to be there to support and enjoy them. But yeah, it's weird times. That was a big chunk of today's conversations. El Curdo. You meant Crudo, I'm sure. Yeah, that's the thing, right? And they'll have enough to read to be really hooked with their teeth in it. Yes and no. Yes and no, right? Like they're talking about the times right now, right? Everyone and their grandma is putting out comics right now. The MCU helped make it seem like this thing, right? That could be like your path to making movies and becoming a billionaire, right? It's not even for the creators that are doing this. I don't know why people assume that, but it's the glamour of Hollywood, I guess is why. The glamour of Hollywood has kind of golden showered all over comics, and we're getting a lot of people who are just lapping it up, and that is a disturbing set of visuals, but it is so apt and accurate. And so it's a really tough time to get noise around your book. You saw with Jack again, if I didn't have such a strong, heartfelt community built around me, we would have not been able to make issue 3 or issue 4. It was that will, that heartfelt community, and our ability to adapt and produce a amazing story that has saved us twice now on the final day. Shouldn't be possible. And so it's the passive end of it, unless you're willing to fight one culture war or another, and one of them you're more likely to be rewarded for than the other. You kind of, like, actual comic fans are a minority in comics right now. And I don't think that's going to change in the next 20 years as long as the MCU is like a strong factor. I think the MCU has been an absolute curse to comic production. I'm glad people are able to put out work. I'm glad anytime someone's voice is heard. But I think a lot of people put out work not to put out a comic, but to make a movie. And I feel that it strangles the creative potential of the entire medium. But you got to search for the diamonds in the rough and support them and keep them afloat and hope that things change or people get awareness of their work, right? Like that's all I think we can do. Oh yeah, it's Keanu, right? Like he didn't want to put out a comic. Or if he did, it was more of a here's another vessel for me to put out my own independent intellectual property that I control, right? So he doesn't have to be another Neo under somebody else's control, right? Like from the free and freedom perspective of that, great. I don't like this is, I don't like celebrity comic endorsements either so much. I did a stream on that not too long ago, and I got an hour and a half in depth about it. Like, I appreciate it. I'm glad it allows these books to be discovered by new audiences, but those audiences tend again not to be comic fans, and the work that you're putting out that I've seen doesn't tend to make new comic fans. It just reinforces whatever, if they're a fan of social commentary kind of creators, then all it does is reinforce that fandom. It doesn't reinforce comic fandom. If they're a fan of a celebrity, it doesn't tend to reinforce the comic book fandom. It tends to reinforce the celebrity's fandom. Um, what happens is that fandom gets more comic readers in it, right? Not the other way around. Um, I can hope that I'm wrong because I don't see these optics and analytics. I don't even think those creators see that kind of optics and analytics. It's not what they'd hear. It's not the kind of data they track. It's not the kind of data they'd be interested in. But I, over observation and anecdotal, evidence, that's what I've found is that it doesn't bring new folks in. It simply taps a separate market and brings comic readers into that market. Whether it's the MCU again, right? Comic fans are going to be comic fans whether or not movies were put out. They just are now part of this movie fandom as well. But these movie fans, and we've had about a decade of it, right? Over a decade at this point. A decade and a half, I think, since Iron Man. We didn't see a trickle from these movie fans into the comics. We did not. We saw, okay, at best we saw a trickle. At most, we didn't see that at all. Certainly not what the potential with the numbers that was there if Marvel or even DC with the Snyder stuff had really leaned into pairing movies to comics. What percentage of Marvel fans read comics, right? Marvel's been trying to be a lifestyle brand for basically again since the movies, right? Since Iron Man's success and the whole multiverse cinematic universe concept became a gold mine. I don't think maybe 12%, 1 in 8 maybe. That's probably being generous. Because a lot of them are just parents that take their kids to this movie because it's an action movie they can appreciate and it's a kids movie that their kids can appreciate, right? Um, yeah, maybe 1 in 8. Yeah, that's why I'm being generous. I agree with you. Oh yeah, I do. Right there. And then behind my head, I've got Kill Journal, Chefs, Black Hops, Sailor Rogowski's right there. That's the Spy versus Spy compendium right there. It's a cyberpunk anthology I put out. I didn't put out. I had a story in. Uh, yeah, I try and put the stuff that I actually put work into in the background recently. Um, that Judge Dredd that's behind 8 Fights has been there forever. Um, and there's Jack. Jack's up there. I built another bookshelf, so I moved like all of my manga. I used to have Nausicaa and Alita Battle Angel right there, and then above where you can't see used to just be all the rest of Alita Battle Angel because there's so much. But that all got moved to another shelf out in the room there, and ran out of room. I had to get specific shelves just to shelve One Piece and Berserk, especially One Piece takes quite a bit of shelf space. I love it. I'm appreciative that I get to have and collect these things before they stay out of print or can't be kept in print enough to. They're basically never out of print. A lot of these manga. I think Berserk, thanks to Dark Horse's muscle, has kept in print. Thank goodness. But One Piece, they keep trying. And every time I see the print run come in, like within 3 to 5 days, it's back to outrageous collector's prices. It's a hell of a thing to watch. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it because, you know, comics fans usually are a huge part of the comics fandom are speculators, and the money right now isn't really in that I've seen in slabbed books so much as it is in out of print manga, which is crazy to me. Mainly because the manga fandom is so rabid and they actually want to read these things rather than just have another slabbed book. But yeah, I would say thanks to the MCU and the DCEU, I don't even know what they call it. Yeah, the fandom's probably under 12%. That actually like check out the comics, right? And I think the potential was there to really, but Marvel itself didn't lean into it with the story structures and alignments they chose with the films, right? And Disney certainly doesn't care about that, right? Like that's not their bottom line. You'd think it'd be less risky to put out books that closely align or are mutually promoted with the films than it would be to do what they're doing. But I don't know. I'm not them. But yeah, that's been the bit. Like I'm not a big fan of celebrity endorsement in comics. At best, it's a net gain of 0. At worst, it's a little bit of a loss of a comic fandom because maybe they don't get delivered a great comic. Like Berserker, I've watched many reviews of. I haven't read it, but it is not this high quality, super, like even just judged on this is a gory action book, like it's not top tier. What you would want if you're pairing with Keanu Reeves, right? You'd want something that stands on its own and becomes a reciprocal cycle with the celebrity attached to it. But I stopped hearing about Berserker except for when somebody throws up a review. Um, and I don't even think your boy Zach's delivered the Expendables book yet. And it certainly underperformed to what you'd expect having Stallone attached. And your boy Zach putting it out, right? Um, Exile did well for Adam Lawson. I wish Adam all the best. I'm glad he finally got a six-figure success. Super glad for that. I know his goal is always to put out amazing books. He's given myself and my team work, and was great to work with. But this was a hook that worked for him. But again, like I didn't back it because I'm not like excited to back a Wesley Snipes book, um, which sucks because like the overall arcing like story from it didn't sell me as well. The pitch. Uh, so my guess is if you were a big Wesley Snipes fan, you'd get it, and it worked, right? And it's also to show support that Wesley Snipes is stepping into this arena, right? But it wasn't a comic I wanted. I only back books I really want from creators I really appreciate, and this particular expression from Adam, I didn't want the book. I really appreciate the creator, but I didn't want the book. I backed, of course, I backed Kids and Monsters because that's Maxie, as well, and of course I backed Kill Journal because I had something in there. But yeah, The Exiled, I'm not. It didn't sell me. Um, it's just something plastic about celebrity endorsements in comics. Something terribly plastic. Um, yeah, I can't quite put my face. I don't want to say phony because it's not. I mean, these books could be amazing artistic expressions. I don't know, but there's something that Hollywood comic book relationship. There's something exceedingly plastic, and that overall, in general, Not every case, but overall in general, it comes off very phony to me, right? Like it feels like when these celebrities do this, it's slumming for some extra cash. Not that that's what they're doing, but like even Keanu, who has a great reputation, like I felt like he was slumming. I saw Disturbed, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, bands, right? And this isn't Hollywood. I've seen them do it. And they have some wonderful, his storied characters. We got Eddie, we got Vic, we got Disturbed guy. Um, awesome character designs, heavy metal concepts, things that should be right up my alley. And I wasn't interested. I think, was it Soul Asylum or De La Soul? I think it was. Also, like put out a comic. Um, I feel like these celebrities like, oh, this is easy money. Comics are a big deal because of the MCU, and that's where that plastic, phony feel comes from. They want to make money. They don't want to make comics. Then we have a bunch of this other idea of we want to make movies. We don't want to make comics, but comics will get us to a movie, and that whole spectrum for me is just disappointing. It's just so disappointing because it disrespects the medium as it is as an incredible artistic expression, one of the freest mediums in existence for telling any sort of story, one of the most beautiful and easily occurring collaborative expressions of storytelling. It's something so unique and beautiful, and it's just like a fucking tool to something else, just a goddamn stepping stone. Just a something to slum with to make a couple extra bucks. Again, it comes off terribly plastic. It's heartbreaking, honestly, because it didn't have to be that way. Even if you were doing these same actions, it could have been handled so very much differently. If you could throw a couple $100K into a comic books production, you can make something incredible. I make it on less than 10% of that. I make something absolutely incredible. It bothers the hell. Calm down, calm down. I know. Well, it's a weird day for me, brother. It's a weird day, but you're right. You're right. It's not worth. It's not part of my spectrum. It's not what I'm doing. It's not what I'm trying to foster. Right. So it's fine. And it's fine. It's just it feels plastic. And we need less plastic in this world and more direct, honest communication than performance, than that. But it is what it is. Their comics are already dead, right? Two more omnibuses of Fist of the North Star, and then I've completed Fist of the North Star. I'm excited. It finally got interesting, this last omnibus. They're calling them volumes, though, like single volumes. I don't know what to call it, because they're collected. They're thick, but they're not full 3-in-1 omnibus style, so I don't know what to call them. But two more of those. Ken actually finally got defeated. Kenshiro. It only took five of these volumes, which are much larger than, they're like 3 volumes a piece size wise. So I don't know what to call them. They just call them volumes. But yeah, finally some kind of like movement to the story in Fist of the North Star. I had somebody who's like, "Oh, this is you're saying it has no heart." Like, very hard to explain my feelings on Fist of the North Star because I really like it. I fucking adore it. But comparing it to a lot of the other stories I really adore, there's not like the depth isn't there. And it sounds rude when I say it like it's flat, but it's pretty flat. It's very one note. It's a great note, but it's very one note. Check out Twitter DM and read it out. This is what people like me dream about in comics. Let me see. Is it not updated? No, it did not update. All right, this is from Cactus Coyote, issue 25 of the Anu arc, which I'm not sure how many issues that's in. I bet it's probably over 100 issues in. This mad lad in chat on his ability to create and actually put the things down. Page 1. This is the left page. Starting on the left is page 1. Cax Coyote is flying through space in his Wacket, which is his little ship. Nebula shapeshifter mama scene and letting shapeshifters float outside in space scene. Oh, okay. So it's a scene of these guys kind of floating around. All right. Points towards a freighter ship. Coyote says he also has business there. All right. Now